Hello, sunshine. Welcome to Be Visible with Veronica, the podcast where bold conversations and soul-aligned strategy help you awaken your most powerful self. I'm your host, Veronica Bond. Get ready to stop dimming your light, own your magic, and finally be so visible you can't be ignored. Let's get visible. Hello, sunshine. Welcome back to Be Visible with Veronica. Did you catch last week's episode with Kathy Riley? Oh my gosh, what she talked about in her episode of being a speaker, the transition she made from being in a place of litigators and working with lawyers, and then coming into this beautiful new soul to shine conversation will enlighten you and empower you. And if you're a speaker, you need to go back and listen to that episode. But today, I'm thrilled to welcome all the way from Wisconsin, my wonderful friend, a collaborator in my business, a multi-preneur of all things expansive and website and design and graphic, Miss Amy Pierquet with Waterfront Graphic. Welcome to the studio, Amy.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
You know, we met almost 5 years ago at an eWomen Network event. Mm-hmm. And there seems to be a theme here. Many people will go, gosh, another eWomen Network. But, you know, when you're networking and you're making all these incredible connections, you find yourself, for me, in the space of like-minded entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
And that's how we found each other.
Yeah.
And it really became a place where we were both growing in our businesses, even though you had quite a few more years under your belt in a very specific niche. Mm-hmm. The thing that I've loved about us is we continue to expand and grow and stay on trends with our businesses. But there's not very many conversations that have happened this year on Be Visible with Veronica where somebody can say they have more than 25 years in a niche, in a lane of their business. And that's you.
Yeah.
So I just want to celebrate you. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yeah, January was 25 years since I started my business. It's hard to believe that 25 years passed, but here we are.
And there was a long time where I didn't understand Waterfront Graphic. And then I learned the story behind it. You are literally on the waterfront.
Yeah. Yeah. I built a home on Lake Wisconsin, and I knew I was starting my business and I was trying to come up with a name. I was going to call myself just, Pierquet Design or Amy Pierquet Design, and it never resonated with me. And all of a sudden the thought of Waterfront Graphic Design hit me, and it just felt right. And so I went with it.
I love your story of working and helping a magazine launch and land a large advertiser because you actually remodeled the magazine. You redesigned it. Mm-hmm. And they had 3 different magazines, and you were responsible for the entire redesign of that company. And that initial success, which they basically shut the door on you, like it almost hit you on the bum on your way out. And I was so shocked by that because it's amazing to me how often in corporate, and sadly this seemed to be a place where it was mainly woman-owned or woman in, somebody who was above you in that presidential space, made the decision because she felt, you thought, threatened that you had done some great work for her almost 30 years ago. Yeah. And I think that speaks to the difference in how women are coming together now. And we're not looking at somebody as trying to take our jobs, but actually adding to it, to the benefit of all things amazing. And I think that if we can always come from that space, we will all grow together in a more positive way, except that that's what puts you on your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, absolutely. If I wouldn't have gone through the experiences that I went through, it wouldn't have given me the shove that I needed to start this journey.
I love the shove.
And then it was a shove. It was a kind of a violent push. But I wanted to do it, but actually fear was holding me back. And so it's like the universe going, okay, go. And now's the time. And once I got over the fear and I started working in my business, I realized this was 100% where I was supposed to be.
And then the clients came pretty quickly for you right off the gate. And I love that, because when you know you're in the flow of what you're supposed to be doing, so many doors open for you. And instead of shutting on you as you're trying to get out the door quick. And you had this beautiful graphics background.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an eye for how things come together. And that's such a beautiful, rare gift, because so many people are using AI now to do that.
Yeah. My background in magazine publication, it became very apparent to me that background of putting together, how is this page spread going to look? What do you want first? What do you want second? That gave me a distinct advantage when it came to website design, because now clients come to me and say they have an existing site and they just want to add 2 pages to it. They're like, I want to add this stuff. Where do I put it? I know instinctively what page to put it on, top, bottom, middle, wherever, and I advise them on where to place things on their site.
I love that you offer that perspective, because you're part of my technical team for Veronica Bond Consultancy as I evolve through transform my social media. And I gave you the reins to redo my Veronica Bond site. So if you want to know her work, go to veronicabond.com and go take a peek, because we're always changing that as well. But what you've done to raise, I gave you a clear direction on what I was trying to achieve, but I didn't always know the words. And when I'm working with clients who need your skill set, and as we're working together in that collaborative space, I love that you're part of my team, because together we've created some beautiful products for clients, and they are loving the outcome, because it's not a cookie cutter approach. And it's not for everybody. There are people who need just a single WordPress, simple, go high level landing page, whatever that looks like for them. Even GoDaddy, even though you and I have an opinion about that. But even Squarespace, there's places where those websites are fine.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Depending on the brand, depending on the product, depending on the customer who's using it. But then there's this leveled up version of what you want your brand and your image to look like, and you know how to craft that. And I love working with you, and I love what we've been able to do for my clients as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to shift into a couple conversations we've had in the past when you've said, oh, I'm working on this private website and I can't talk about it. What was that like for you when somebody came to you from a very prominent, large, very entertainment focused industry and said, we want you working on these websites, and you had to sign an NDA and you couldn't talk about it, and they were bringing you into the team? That must have been an aha moment for you. I remember that happened a couple years ago. And that happens to you quite often, but what was that like for you? Was that a moment, was that ever on your goal sheet or your vision board of, these are things I hope to accomplish someday?
To be honest, I'm going to say no. I think, because even though I've been in business for 25 years, because I designed the magazines, that industry died only halfway, just 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I had to pivot my business and switch and evolve. And changing my business halfway through, basically, was like starting over again. And I didn't really have a lot of things I wanted to check off on my list.
Oh, okay.
Because I was afraid. I had a lot of limiting beliefs that were really, truly holding me back from being who I am.
How have you been able to evolve from that, Amy? Because that seems to be an ongoing conversation for many women entrepreneurs and CEOs.
Well, for me, I was always looking outside of myself for the answer, but the answer was within me. And the biggest thing that helped me is I started to heal myself. I started to look into my mindset, my thoughts, heal myself. And then when I started to heal myself, even the people that were coaches and stuff that were helping me, it became much clearer.
Okay. So you had to seek the clarity from within during that job transition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gave you the foundation to build the company now 25 years later.
Right.
That's a really good pro tip for those who are listening and watching, because so many times a business has to evolve. They have to stay current. Mm-hmm. They have to stay up to date. But we don't always see the end game happening, like that big transition. Mm-hmm. And it can be devastating. It could be a blow to an ego, which I'm sure you faced as well until you...
Yeah, it was really hard. It was really hard because I felt like a failure. To go from a striving business to having literally no money coming in a month's time. And then I made the decision to go into website design. And I didn't want to. But I decided, well, that's the future. I knew that was the future, and I knew I had to do it. And I kicked my fear to the side and said, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to do it. But it did take quite a few years to lose that limiting belief that said, I can't do this.
Well, so many people think that just because they have a skill set, they're going to... I mean, I had that conversation with Q Nichols a couple months ago, and she came from corporate and she had this skill set, and she thought once I became an entrepreneur, everybody would sign up for my course and my class and my collab, like it's a no-brainer. And when that didn't happen, it kicked her to the curb, and we were talking about that. That's very similar to this conversation. You have this amazing background. You have proof of success of what you've been able to do for a company, and yet when it was time for you to do it for yourself, it wasn't as easy to mentally traverse through that terrain of hardship and boulders to climb and mountains to get over and hills to walk through and shrubbery to clean up and like a machete through the forest. Like, I know I'm supposed to go this way. What was it like for you when that aha moment of the path cleared? Like you came out of that very hard, dark space and you looked ahead and there was the path and it presented itself to you. And was it like, or was it?
Kind of was, yeah. It was kind of like, almost like the sun rising. Everything became clear. Everything became easy. Because I wasn't holding myself back. When I realized, I was like, I was my own problem. Wait.
Wow.
Right? It feels to me like business to me is easy because I'm showing up differently. My energy is different. So when I go into a meeting with a new client, I can only imagine how I was back 15 years ago. I would imagine talking to me was probably like, they were like, the energy coming off of me was probably more like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like that was probably resonating off of me. And now I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And I can help you. And my process for talking to a client, I have very specific questions to get the information out of the client that I need to know to understand them. There's some intuitive aspects to me where I can pick up things about the client and where they're wanting to take their business, but there's also a process in there where I ask a lot of questions to really dive deep into where they want to go, and if they don't know, I help guide them through that.
So as an entrepreneur, one of the things that I want everyone to listen to here is your expertise and guidance is only as good as the questions you're asking your client.
Absolutely.
It's true.
It is true.
But that piece, I mean, yes, there's AI now, but you can't AI lived experiences. That human touch of what you went through to get to those clarifying questions, to understand they were the right ones to ask your client, to get to that expertise space that then elevates you into that celebrity status of, I really want to work with that person. They're the epitome or peak of that. And I love that I have options in my company to offer clients because, like I said, some need the work that we do together and others work with other people on my team. Still great products that we're proud of, but not everybody is in the same space of needing certain design work and certain movements on websites. And you're so good at that. And I had somebody say to me one time, well, you could just, go to Fiverr or find a VA who knows how to craft websites. But I'm telling you, people, there was something about working with an individual who is an expert in a space of building out that visual, what that image, what that brand looks like. The SEO, let's talk about that. Not everybody has that expertise. And I love that you continue to get educated. As do I. We talk about SEMrush and SEO and AEO and AIO and all the things, but how you show up now, you have to be evolving in spaces or your business will die, like what happened to the magazine industry.
Right, exactly. And because so many times in my own business, I've had to shift and evolve. And this AI is a whole nother new shift. And I started shifting what I offer my clients months ago, long before people were even really talking about it. And so
it's because you were ahead of the trend.
Because I was ahead of the trend. And to stay in business, you basically just have to stay ahead of the trend. Kind of like think of the cue ball, right? Like you don't want to be behind everybody else. You want to be the leader of it. So in any industry that you're in, you want to make sure that you're staying ahead of your competition.
And one really great way to do that is look at your competition. And not be worried about anybody copying your stuff. Because by the time they're copying and doing what you're doing, you should be on to the next thing.
Oh, exactly.
If you're growing and if you're accelerating.
But they always say, what's the saying? That the flattery? What is that saying?
Let's see. The best flattery is when somebody copies what you do or say.
Yeah.
That's the best form of flattery.
But the amount of entrepreneurs that I meet, that they see my marketing and my follow-up and the emails that I send out to thank them, to like all of that, the amount of people that have asked me, can I borrow that? And I'm like, sure, go ahead. Like, obviously change it a little bit.
Right, make it your own.
Don't put my name in it unless you want to promote me, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Because I've been in business for 25 years. If I can't give somebody advice and some like freebies, what's the point?
Right.
Right?
I love that.
Like, I love getting on calls and talking to other new entrepreneurs. The amount of young entrepreneurs, not young, but young in years, I guess, entrepreneurs that I've talked to in the last 2 years, unbelievable. How many of them I've given free advice to help them get off the ground. I want to know how many of them, after 6 months, a year, 2 years in business, has come back to me because I've already shown them.
And you didn't show them because you thought they would become clients or come back to you. You showed them because that's who you are.
That's who I am, right? And I want to see other people succeed. Right?
Oh my gosh.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're here for.
I love initiating ideas into others and watching them then take it off and run with it. It's one of my favorite things to do as an entrepreneur. And I feel so called to that. Just like when I launched this podcast almost a year ago, you guys. We are celebrating, actually. We're going to go live. I'm going to drop in here for a moment. We are going live to celebrate our 1 year anniversary on May 14th. So stay tuned for more details there as we interrupt this conversation to do a shameless plug there. So make sure you're subscribing so you get notifications when that happens. But being able to create a platform for other entrepreneurs to come in and share their story, to share their ups, their downs, be able to bring people in from Wisconsin to have a conversation here. Really, for me, it's about sharing the stories of inspiration, of growth, of mindset, to be a resource. And I had a business coach, probably 4 months, say to me, but what's in it for you? I haven't heard you talk about you at all in any of these episodes. You will interject stories. And I said, it's never been about me. It's always been about lifting others and shining a light on them and giving them a stage, a presence, a platform to be who they need to be, to share their expertise, but also somebody in one of the 29 countries were downloaded in, to be able to go, wow, they sound like me, or that story resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent out an email on Friday, and I had a couple people reply back. I think, I don't know, 1,000 email list or something I have, and I've lost track of the numbers. But just one person to be able to say, that really resonated with me. You are speaking my language, or you said something to me that made me feel not so alone. And I love that you and I have those conversations often, because when you're mentoring other entrepreneurs who are babies in their field, looking for somebody to give them guidance, I look back and think, wow, where was that for me? You know, that wasn't
That's
available.
why we do what we do, because
me.
there wasn't anybody there 25 years ago.
We were kind of blazing the path.
Yeah. So now I'm walking around with 25 years of knowledge. It's my turn to help others.
So speaking of helping others, you have somebody following in your footsteps.
I do. I must have done something right.
So let's talk about Coda wanting to partner with mom and going through college, learning graphic design. And what does that feel like for you, knowing she wants to come work alongside mom?
I have no words. I really don't. I'm extremely proud. She's only in her second semester in graphic design. She started learning website design, and she came to me after saying, I don't think I'm going to like this. Then coming to me and saying, I really like this. This is a lot of fun. So watching her learn and grow, and then sometimes we work on projects together, the collab is actually pretty magical. And I love it. I love that she's doing this. She is so creative.
And she could be part of your succession plan in your company.
Yeah.
And I know you're really proud of Kayla too, because she's got into vet school and doing her
yes,
thing,
I know.
right? And I know that you're so proud of both the girls and what they've been able to accomplish. One of the things we talked about recently in a circle of women was that succession plan for a family member who wants to come and work alongside you. And it's really, the one common theme is they don't get to just come in and be the CEO.
Oh, no.
And either they're working their way from, metaphorically, sweeping floors all the way to sitting in the CEO desk, and they've gone through all the positions of the company and they really know what they love or how they want to be a leader in the company. Or they go work somewhere else for a little while to figure out what they want to do, what they don't want to do, what they love, what they don't love, how they want to show up as a leader, as a manager, as an executive, as the boss babe or dude in the company.
Right.
So what does that look like for you with Kayla moving forward? Have you thought about what are some things that you can, not Kayla, sorry, Coda, what you can integrate for her as she's out there trying to figure out and when to come work with mom?
Well, I do believe that she should work for someone else first, because I think it's kind of hard right off the bat. I'm still mom, and there needs to be a separation there when you're working together. If she works for someone else, maybe she can learn what she doesn't like, what she likes. She'll see a lot of things working for people. I worked for 3 different companies before I started my business. I learned a lot, and that stuff went with me when I started my business, because I was like, okay, I didn't like that, I'm not going to do that. I liked this, I'm going to implement that. All of that is really good training. And then if she does decide that she wants to, come on board, I have a lot of stuff I can teach her. Like you and I just said earlier, there was no one there helping us. We had to figure it all out. And I think my success took a lot longer than maybe it should have, because I didn't have someone guiding me. I had no idea what I was doing.
You were learning on the fly.
I was learning on the fly, and it didn't always go over well. So I can share a lot of knowledge with her and help her become, I truly believe, even better than me.
And that's not always going to stop them from, in that succession of going through the ups and downs and challenges, but it can shorten that learning curve and create success faster. And I truly believe that. One of the reasons why I loved eWomen Network was watching Sandra Yancey and her daughter Brianna, who's in a succession plan for her. And it's very clear, Sandra will say from stage, this isn't something that Brianna is just coming into. It's a 10-year plan, and there's a whole system and reason and growth and mindset and coaching around this whole space. And I love that, because when I look at my daughter, who's 35, and what she's doing in her consultancy business, and we joke sometimes we should work together because we're in the similar industry of what we offer, and she'll look at me and go, oh, I don't know, Mom. And I don't know if it's because, honestly, I think it's because she needs me to prove something to her first. But I laugh at that because I know what I bring to the table and what I'm really good at, and I know what she's really good at. And a couple of my clients that have family members working with them, it is my honor to be able to guide them in these conversations, because that succession plan and that growth and stepping out of mom and dad and being son and mom or daughter and mom is so key to the success and growth of that overall 10xing a company or even 5xing a company. And I think it's powerful to be able to really lay that groundwork. And I love that you're having this conversation, because I don't think that you're alone. I think that there's many entrepreneurs out there who are thinking what it would be like to work with a family member or one of my kids.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you offer to somebody whose child's looking to come in and work in the family company?
Well, to be honest, for both of my daughters, I'm going to take a little point of privilege and tell a little story. My oldest daughter, when she said, I want to be a veterinarian, there's 8 years of schooling there. And I wanted to make sure that she really, really was going to love this. The stories I kept hearing was they don't like the euthanasia, or they don't like the surgery aspect of it, the blood and guts, right? So I'm like, well, before we put money down, let's make sure, right? So she started working at a humane society when she was 16, 17 years old. And she started getting experience of real veterinary world. And I did the same for Coda. She was like, I think I might like this graphic design thing. So before she even graduated from high school, I gave her projects to do. I gave her a logo, I gave her a poster, I gave her a couple other projects over the summer. It was the summer between her junior and senior year. And of course I could give her the projects, but you could always search out someone else.
Do internships.
To do an internship or find somebody to help. And she did the projects, and I gave her some scopes just like I was a client. And I said, now, go and design something. And she was really thrilled with the end result. And the other good thing is her older sister said it looked really professional. You think that didn't help? That totally helped.
Thank you, older sister, for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think people miss on is how you network within your community for advice and guidance. And I loved that you turned to LinkedIn to get some answers, and you found people who you could reach out to and send messages to. And the piece that was powerful for me is when you said they were more than happy to not only have a conversation with me, but have a conversation, if we wanted, with the girls. And so I think that people forget that there are resources, even in a space where you don't know anybody. It's kind of a warm market. It's a cold, I wouldn't call it a cold lead, because if you reach out and you're being completely authentic in the reach out, the person probably feels quite honored, like those who have reached out to you. I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm new in this industry. I love how you represent visibility or marketing or being a managing director for eWomen Network. Can you, or being a podcast guest or having sponsors, or a host, can you give me 30 minutes of your time and offer some advice? And I send a calendar link, and if they jump on, we have a conversation, because there are many I'll send a calendar link to and there's no additional follow-up.
Right. That's true.
So using your network as a resource to connect and gain information and knowledge of where to go next, or have proof of concept, sometimes you just need to ask. And so many stay quiet.
Yeah. Like you mentioned the LinkedIn. I have been LinkedIn networking for the last 2.5 years. And the amount of people that I've met all over the country is just amazing. And not only that, I've been able to connect people to other people. Because say I met someone in Florida, let's just throw that out. And then I met 5 other people in Florida. I'm like, hey, do you want to meet some other people in Florida? So then I do the introduction straight through LinkedIn. And the amount of people that have connected because of that. And that's true connection. That's true entrepreneurship, is helping other people get to know other people.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That reminds me of a conversation I had this week with a friend who is traveling to another country this summer. And because of visibility and because of how they are seen around the country and things are streamed, they made a connection with someone who had come to Arizona, and they connected, and then they decided to go to this country, and they reached out and said, hey, we're coming to your country. We want to know where to stay or what things we should see. Well, they're now meeting this family, and it was just through their own visibility and outreach and how they show up from the States, now a connection across the ocean to another country that is leading to a conversation and some personal relationship. And I think that everything that you shared in your story, the 25 years of being in business, coming from the print magazine background, knowing you need to evolve into digital, knowing that it needed to be websites, because websites are like magazines, they're around for a while, and people go to them for information and how they show up, and then continually being in top of mind for how to evolve and do better. Amy, I just want to honor you in that space, because I think it's a real testament to what entrepreneurship, future entrepreneurship, as somebody's brand new starting, thinking that's what I want my 25-year plan to look like. In a quarter of a century, I want to be able to say this. I've made connections globally. I've helped my family. I've blazed a path. I've been a mentor, and I've shown up for others and shown others that it's possible, just like you've done. So I want to thank you for sharing that story today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you and they want to subscribe to your newsletter, because your weekly tips are amazing, and or at least monthly, what you share in the SEO space is great information. How do they do that, Amy?
Well, my website is waterfrontgraphic.com.
And that's Waterfront Graphic, because I always want to add an S, waterfrontgraphic.com, but we'll also put it in the show note.
Yeah.
So waterfrontgraphic.com is the place that you will find Amy Pierquet and learn about her story, see what she's creating, and give you an opportunity to also subscribe to her newsletter, where you can gain very insightful tips on SEO, on what's dead, what's alive, on AI, things for your own personal website. And if you're looking to bring somebody in to give you that high-level luxe version of how you want to show up in the world, make sure you connect with Amy. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here with us today on Be Visible with Veronica. And don't forget to share this episode with those you know will be inspired by the conversation, and subscribe and share. And if you really want to know what your visibility looks like, you can go to visibility.com and take your quiz. Actually, visibilityquiz.com. We'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to Be Visible with Veronica. If today's episode sparked something in you, share it, tag me, and pass it on. Your presence has power, and the world is better when you let it be seen. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and keep showing up as the unstoppable force you were born to be. I'll see you next time.